I'll start off a bit of an intro, go over a few statistics, so go over the boring bit first, and then go into kind of what's hot in the UK at the moment. So thank you for coming along to the last session of the day. I am Head of Affiliate Development at Affiliate Future. Affiliate Future, the third largest network in the UK, been going for about 7 years over in the UK now. So I just deal with kind of affiliates on a day-to-day basis and try and keep them happy and keeping them promoting our network. I've been working in the affiliate industry for about 6 years. Originally started as an affiliate before moving on to a merchant, an agency and a network. So kind of done every aspect you can think of on the affiliate side. And I'm also a kind of keen blogger about the UK affiliate market. In terms of giving a bit of intro into Affiliate Future, I'm trying to skip fast this a bit fast. Essentially, we are one of the largest networks in the UK. We also have offices in USA and Madrid, so European and global. We're responsible for around £160 million worth of sales in 2007. Over our network across the globe, we have around about 4% overall conversion rate. We predominantly were big in the travel sector, so that's where most of our kind of sales have come from, the likes of Virgin Atlantic and Thomas Cook and some kind of high street brands in the UK, Singapore Airlines as well. In terms of kind of our tracking, we think it's one of the most robust. We have 3-stage tracking, so it starts off as your standard kind of cookie tracking, then goes on to flash cookies, and then finally, and probably most importantly, we have some patent pending technology called VeraciTag. VeraciTag essentially is cookieless tracking, so it stores a file in the user's cache. And since we introduced that about 6 months ago, we've seen between a 7 and 10% increase in commissions from where users had their cookies turned off or rejected or whatever it may be. So that's really kind of helped the growth of the network over the past 6 months. Just one of those weird statistics. We had just over 76 million clicks in the past 12 months. So just to give you an idea on the kind of level of where we're at. So just as I said, start off with some statistics on the UK, and then we'll go over kind of what these mean. So in terms of the population in the UK, it's estimated around about 61 million. So the 22nd most populated country in the world. In terms of the internet usage, we've got around 68.6% of the population have an active internet connection, which is the 7th highest in the world after China, USA, Japan, India, Germany and Brazil. So, we're not the most populated or the 22nd most populated, but in terms of our internet usage, it's high up there. Same with the gross national income as well. We are the 6th highest after Luxembourg, of all places, and a few others that you can see there. And the population density is the 20th highest in the world. So in terms of the actual shopping and affiliate stats of that, now I found a stat the other day, and I kind of thought it was quite high, to be honest. But apparently 97% of internet users in the UK have shopped online, which is joint second behind South Korea. So actually, out of the amount of internet users we have, we're tending to find that lots of them do actually shop online. Total UK online sales for 2007 were around about 46 billion, which is a year-on-year growth of 54%. And affiliate sales for 2007 were 3.3 billion. So when you take that into account, then that's 7% of all online business in the UK is via affiliates. Which is quite a high percentage. And those also ignore lead-based programs, the adult industry, gambling sectors, and various other sectors which are, which do a lot in commission. So, great, there's some stats, but what do they actually mean? So, we have high internet usage. We've got more and more people shopping online every year, a high income, and basically we have quite a mature affiliate market. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no room for growth into the affiliate market. What that actually means is that, a lot of the high street retailers and the smaller retailers and the SMEs do have an affiliate program. So there is a great choice for affiliate programs to promote in the UK, and lots of opportunities to monetize any UK traffic that you may have. So I just wanted to go over things that, that there is a lot of difference between the UK and other kind of regions. So, one of the key things is spyware is banned by all the major UK networks. So if you're a spyware provider, then that's not great. But if you're not, then that can mean, extra commission from you. Because the commissions that spyware steals, as some people say, are kept in your pocket. That happened a number of years ago, and whilst there's a couple of networks that have kind of sprung up recently, the majority of them still have a very anti-spyware stance, and so do all the affiliates in the UK. So as is most of the case, last click always wins. One of the things that the sector's been talking about a lot over the kind of past 6 months to a year is potentially changing that model in the future. So not looking at alternatives really, because there are often a number of affiliates involved in the buying cycle. And I think what will happen over the kind of next 6 months is more networks will start to analyse and provide feedback to merchants on how many affiliates are actually involved in that cycle from the statistics that we have. And then working out, should someone who's potentially a content affiliate, and started off the sale process, still get paid a percentage of the commission when maybe the final click went to an incentive site or a brand name bidder or however it might be. So there's different things that the networks are looking at and merchants are looking at in terms of options for that. One of the things that we have in the UK is offers typically aren't recycled. So, one of the things that I've tended to see out here, and I'm sure you might disagree, is that there's lots of CPA networks who tend to have the same offers. In the UK, you don't really have this. All the offers are directly with the merchant typically, and that just means that they're on a maximum of 2 networks. Some will try putting it on kind of 8 or 9 different networks, but it just never seems to work because, for merchants, it doesn't work because they have to factor in deduplication, rejecting sales, and so on and so forth. So you typically find that most merchants are either exclusive or on the maximum 2 networks. And the other thing that isn't really supported is networks in the UK don't tend to support third-party pixel tracking. So we do get lots of requests from both affiliates and some networks even sometimes who come over to us and say, can we put pixel tracking in there, especially kind of email affiliates, so they can provide stats back or however it might work. And it isn't a done thing. What we do provide is APIs to get kind of real-time transactional information, which can do that. But most networks tend to have their own bespoke software as well, so there isn't a huge amount of kind of direct track or similar style networks over in the UK at present. The frustrating thing is that there are no standardized formats for pretty much anything. So whether you're looking at data feeds, for example, every network is different, voucher codes and the way they display them, all the different aspects typically display slightly different, and hopefully that's one thing that will change over the next year or so. And probably most importantly, customer behaviour is different. You tend to see there's lots of, and I know it's been discussed in some of the sessions over the past few days, is the sales letter type websites, where it's scrolling kind of 2 or 3 pages down, that tend to, and they do something to convert very well in other regions. But in the UK, the response rate on them is generally typically low. You also find lots of kind of UK-based multi-level marketing and ebook merchants or marketers tend to market globally rather than the UK, because again, the kind of get-rich-quick ebook schemes, they do work, but I don't think they work in the UK as much as other regions. They're just slightly less receptive to them, I guess. Now, one of the surveys that was conducted recently is that the actual delivery of items is equally and sometimes more important to customers than the price. So, when if you're a merchant, you were looking to get into the UK, and I think that's an interesting thing to look at, because, if you can actually factor in the times of delivery, rather than just it's going to be delivered within the next kind of 5 or 6 or 24 days or whatever it might be, then you're a lot more likely to get sales out of it, especially when it's higher price items. I don't want to be, ordering a TV and then waiting at home for, 2 days for it to turn up. I want to know it's coming between, X time. And because we've got quite a good postal system in the UK, and that's typically possible. So in terms of the kind of hot topics, probably similar to other regions, voucher code sites are kind of key in the UK and drive a lot of traffic and a lot of sales. They tend to be called discount and voucher codes as the key terms rather than coupon codes and some of the others that are in other regions. And one of the most common practices, which I haven't really seen in the US as much and other areas, is click to reveal, which is essentially where you would have a merchant, so let's say it's Amazon, listed on a voucher code site, and they may have an offer on for 10% off or whatever it might be. So rather than the discount code sites actually displaying the 10% off codes that they need to put in the checkout, what they have is something called click to reveal, which is where basically you click a button next to where the voucher is listed, and it's only once you've clicked on that button that the code is displayed. So it's not really forced clicks, but it's ensuring that they're going to get money out of it, I guess. And that's pretty much common practice accepted by the networks. Although there are some new kind of guidelines in place that all the networks have signed up to that began in January 2009. So what they've tried to do is they've tried to say, well, okay, there's voucher code sites and discount code sites have seen huge growth in the past kind of 6 months to a year, and you'll see from the chart above, that you probably can't see very well, but the terms of discount codes and coupon codes and voucher codes have risen year on year for the past 3 years, really. And essentially what it means is they've kind of got a bit out of control. It was only kind of 6 months ago where they were using iframes to generate clicks, and that really was forced clicks. So they've found this new kind of acceptable approach, and what the IAB, who are a group of people, mainly the networks and the affiliates and some agencies, have got together and said, well, okay, what we want to see from the voucher code sites, and if you want to continue using the networks, is you need to separate your actual vouchers and your offers, because they weren't previously separated out. And you can only, if you want to use this click to reveal method, then okay, you can do that, but it needs to be within our guidelines, which is the offer actually needs to be valid. So you need to have an expiry date on there. It needs to actually be working. And that's as I said, that's very new. It's only been happening since the start of this month. But all the kind of big voucher code sites have now kind of taken it up and are working with that now. I've put here the glory days are now gone. Now that's probably a bit too much, but it's a very competitive industry now. There's some recent statistics done that said 1 in 7 affiliate sites that are coming up now is now a voucher code site. So there's lots of people that are kind of seeing this as an easy way to get into affiliate marketing. But it's not an easy way. It's still difficult to generate the traffic. It's expensive to generate the traffic if you're using pay-per-click. So it's a very competitive industry. The other kind of issues that some voucher code sites are facing is that some merchants are not issuing codes anymore, or lowering commission for them. So there's a classic example with Fig Leaves, where they'd issued a code kind of just before Christmas for 20% off that they were issuing to customers, and they were kind of posting themselves on forums and various other places. And what then happened is that then got onto discount code sites, and it got onto content sites, and it got pretty much everywhere. And all of a sudden they said, well, hold on a minute, we're giving out this 20% discount code, we're paying like 10% commission on sales, and we're losing money. So what they were forced to do is lower their commissions to something from like 10% down to 1.5% or something like that. And that did cut into some of the kind of voucher code sites. But unfortunately, they didn't just do that for voucher code sites. They did it for content sites as well, and pay-per-click and other areas. So it did kind of kill their affiliate program, and they're trying to get it back up and running again now. But merchants are starting to look at is that customer actually an incremental sale? Or did they just search for, voucher code once they got into our checkout box? So there's different ways that merchants are starting to look at how they can potentially monitor the use of these discount codes and actually work out if they're adding any value at all, which many think they are, but, it's still open to debate, really. There are some new services. These have been around in kind of other sectors for a while, but only just sprung up in the UK. Stuff like promotions.co.uk and iCodes, which are free or very cheap options that allow you to access 600 to 1,000 kind of UK discount codes that are constantly updated, and web services and XML and kind of various ways as an affiliate that you can populate a new site. So that's discount codes. Then on to the kind of cashback and incentive. Now cashback is probably starting to become a bit more mainstream now. The likes of MSN did it over in the US and the UK. You've got the Daily Mirror and the Sun, kind of two of the biggest newspapers in the UK that now have cashback sites. GMTV, which is a early morning television program that's very popular, and even the likes of Kelku now have voucher code sites in the UK. There was even some TV advertising that I'll see if I can get up for you quickly now, which was started, I believe, in kind of November, December time for a website called cashback.co.uk. Let's see if this loads. Must admit, it's not the best ad in the world because it goes quite fast, but hopefully it'll give you an idea.
Have you heard of cashback.co.uk?
Probably can't hear the music here.
Every time you make a purchase online through cashback.co.uk, you get cash back.
Yeah, but I bet there's a
So this was run during prime time as well. So it's really just showing kind of how far the industry is coming. This should lead to, if they continue the TV advertising, to more searches on the term cashback and more customers, beginning to have awareness of the cashback sector and actually what it is, because it's been going in other areas and other kind of regions where you've got rebates and things like that have been going for a long time really. Let's get rid of that. Right. Now, in terms of the most popular types of cashback incentive sites, 100% cashback are probably the most popular, Quidco being the biggest. You've even got some sites that are now offering over 100% in commission. So what that basically means, if you're offering on your affiliate program, say 2% or 5% commission, then what the 100% sites do is they actually offer all that commission back to the customer. And they look at other advertising means. So Quidco take £5 a year out of the commission that's generated. Top Cashback work and Cashback Kings, two of the other biggest ones, work on just solely selling kind of the other advertising via CPM on CPC on the site in general. You've even got the likes of Top Cashback now who are going over 100% and offering up to 110% cashback. So they're even digging into their own advertising budget to try and get above the competition in terms of what they can offer on their cashback. 50% cashback was the model up until a couple of years ago, so lots of the big ones, stuff like Greasy Palm, which is one of the original, still work along that model and tend to, because they've already got the users in place who aren't necessarily aware of the fact they could be getting kind of more cashback from other competitive sites, or they might just have a brand loyalty towards those sites. They've been using them for a long time, have had an account with them for a long time, so they're still going. And also the point-based sites, the likes of R Points, that offer rather than give them money, they give them a certain amount of points that they can then redeem against CDs, DVDs, TVs, whatever it might be. One of the kind of issues that the cashback site industry faces at the moment is some of the larger merchants are leaving cashback sites. So John Lewis, which is one of the biggest brands in the UK, pulled out of the cashback sector. So did Direct Line and various kind of other providers. And they just kind of were worried, I guess, about again, kind of similar to the voucher code stuff, is it actually adding any incremental sales? Or is it just taking away and costing them more money because they're customers they would have got in the first place? So I think again that's something there'll be questions a lot over the next year. And a few other topics just to kind of go over. So de-duping is a big challenge. Now de-duping is essentially where if you're a merchant and you're running various different marketing techniques, that you would only pay out on the one that's generated the sale. And you've got stuff like DoubleClick and Atlas, who are two of the biggest ones that are being used for this. And the big problem is they're not actually that reliable. I mean, we ran a test with one of our merchants recently where they weren't doing any de-duping at all here. All they were doing is using and displaying our tracking code via DoubleClick or Atlas or one of the different technologies. And then they were showing that for what should have been every sale. And then they were also just showing the standard code, without using one of these technologies. And only 60% of the sales tracked. When it went via the third-party tracking. So, it's a concern and, something that as a merchant you should try and factor in. So, and as affiliates you should be asking, when you're promoting a program, do they use any de-duping? Do they use any third-party methods to track? Because if they do, then you may well be losing commission via it. You've also got some merchants who, it's fair enough, de-duping against pay-per-click, and it happens. But when you're de-duping against the kind of brand name, so, if you're a customer and you found a camera review on, camerareviews.com, you found out, okay, the cheapest place for this is, John Lewis, we use an example. You've not bought it straight away and you've gone straight back to John Lewis by clicking on one of their brand ads, and all of a sudden the affiliate doesn't earn any commission from that, even when they've really made that sale in the first place. They haven't, as a merchant, they haven't paid any commission at all because it's gone via their Google ad. It's a challenge and something that I think will be taken a lot more seriously this year. You've also got a rise of kind of CPL campaigns. So they're typically low value, and lots of them are used for list building as well. They don't have a huge amount of value because all that's happening at the moment is everyone's getting exactly the same email list and running the same offers. But you're seeing a lot more of those come up, and will continue to do so. you've also got an influx of kind of CPA email providers. So what you tended to find up until probably 6 months to a year ago is that, you know, if as a merchant you wanted to run an email campaign, you'd go to one of the bigger ones, whether it's TMN or someone else, and they would be looking at charging you for as a cost per 1,000 of these emails you send out. Now, there's no guarantee it's going to get any sales, and you know it was used more than anything as brand building. But you know, as we kind of enter this kind of credit crunch or recession or whatever it is you want to call it, what you've tended to find is a lot of the bigger providers who have a huge amount of emails are starting to work a lot more on the CPA basis now. And you know, they're just not able to get the same kind of CPA sales levels as they were previously. You've also, you know, brand name bidding is probably not what it was about a year ago. You know, merchants are starting to become a lot more aware that, you know, by offering brand name bidding solutions to their affiliates, they're actually, you know, kicking themselves in the teeth, because not only are they finding that the sales they generate are coming from the brand that they would have got anyway, but they're also finding it's kind of stealing commissions from other affiliates. So you're tending to find that a lot more merchants, when they launch affiliate campaigns, are now, you know, restricting brand names as part of any paid search advertising. One of the kind of the big things that's all over the news, obviously, is the credit crunch, as we call it in the UK. What we find is that merchants are going out of business. You know, Woolworths in the UK was an established brand. It had been around for like 96 years or something like that. And they've now had to close every one of their stores, and you know, made lots of people redundant. So you know, it's a challenging time that we're all going through at the moment. And you know, I think more than anything, as kind of affiliates, one of the things to look at is, you know, making sure the merchants that you promote are not going to, you know, go bankrupt in the next month. So kind of, I think affiliates are just starting to look more at who they are providing, and even looking at their company records to make sure they're in kind of a fit health, as it were. And something that we've also seen is that things like atoll bonding now, this is where is used in travel mainly. So what customers were tending to do was to get the best possible deals, they used to use kind of dynamic packaging, which is where they would book their flights separately to their hotel, separately to their airport transfers, and it worked out that they were getting a much better deal than if they'd gone to one of the big providers and get a kind of standard holiday package. But with the likes of XL.com, who are a big airline, kind of going out of business and going into administration, what ended up happening is lots of people were, you know, stranded in other countries, and because they were going and they were booking these separately, they would then find that they weren't actually protected against this administration. So not only did they have to find another flight to get, they also had to pay for it themselves. So what we've started to find in January this year, which is kind of the biggest month for travel, is that the package holidays are actually a lot more popular than they were last year, because people are worried that if they book this holiday, or if they book this flight, you know, if their airline was to all of a sudden, you know, go bankrupt, you know, how are they actually going to get back? And, you know, with the larger kind of package companies, they are protected against that. And the other big thing to kind of talk about is that payment terms are being changed by networks. So that basically means that previously, a lot of networks, the likes of CJ, Affiliate Window, etc., what they were doing is they were actually protecting the affiliates' interests. So they were paying out very quickly, and they were paying out before they actually got paid by the merchant, because at the time it wasn't such a big deal to do so. They knew they got paid by the merchant, etc. But as we're kind of, you know, going into this kind of credit crunch and the recession, or whatever it is you want to call it, they're worried now they're not actually going to get those payments, and they've actually lost a lot of money from the likes of Wolves, etc. So they're having to change their payment terms and actually only get paid when they get paid from the merchant. So again, it's another reason for affiliates really to look at how that merchant is performing in the general scheme of things, because, you know, if not, you could be exposed to a lot of risk as an affiliate. In terms of the top 5 networks in the UK, obviously I'll go in alphabetical order. That makes Affiliate Future first, not a coincidence. So one of the strong kind of points about Affiliate Future is we have a 5-day validation period, and essentially what that means is if you generate a sale, and after 5 days, that sale is automatically validated and paid out in the next month. So that's very kind of strong for affiliates' perspective, because, you know, there's not as many cancellations as what happened on other networks, and, you know, merchants have to factor that into their actual their costs that they're paying out to affiliates, and factor in returns and various other elements to make sure that they can afford to do it that way. But it just means that as an affiliate you get paid a lot quicker. We have very strong technology, so cookieless tracking, as I kind of already mentioned. Also, you know, we have APIs for the likes of travel, retail, and voucher codes, and we're, I think, the only network in the UK to have some of those. So, we power some of the biggest travel sites around, the likes of Travel Supermarket, etc., and are the only network they kind of work with. We do, still pay on monthly transactions on everything that was generated in the month previously, and one of the only networks still to do that in the UK. And as I mentioned already, we're quite strong in travel with kind of high ticket value. Then you've got Affiliate Window. Affiliate Window are good for, they've got a lot of high street retailers, the likes of John Lewis, etc. are in there. They also have regular kind of twice monthly payments. They've just changed their payment systems. They're still paying twice a month, but again, they've got a system in place where on merchants that are late paying their bills, they won't pay affiliates until they're paid, which is a good thing for them because it means that merchants hopefully pay a lot quicker. They've got very good reporting and product feed technologies, and they have great anti-fraud measures as well. You can only, as an affiliate, you can only sign up to Affiliate Window after you've deposited kind of £5 into your account that you get back as your first payment, but that tends to cut away a lot of the kind of, we have a lot of Chinese fraudsters who kind of sign up and under random names and start generating false leads, which you normally catch up, but that cuts out on quite a lot of that. You then got Buyout and Platform A, who are obviously now an international network, and you would have seen them here today. So they're in the UK, they're in the US, Scandinavia, and they're going to be launching more offices in European markets in 2009, especially now being kind of bought out by AOL. They have very good support for pay-per-click affiliates, some very good interfaces. They're very strong in the finances and kind of utilities, the likes of your kind of gas and electric, etc. Because of the advertising.com and the AOL thing, they now have very kind of short-run specialist campaigns and a variety of different payment terms that they previously didn't have as well. Then got CJ, who are obviously a very well-established network, and I don't need to kind of go into them too much because they've got a real true global reach. They're very good on their email creative, their coupon creative, and they also have smart zones, which are quite unique and good at allowing ratings on certain banners to make sure that the banners you're using, if you kind of use their ad pool, can be the ones that convert best. Trade Doubler, the other big one in the UK, probably one of the first networks to launch in the UK back in kind of 2000, 2001. They've got a very large range of merchants. They have lots of those kind of brand names as well. They have some really good reporting metrics, probably the best that any network has in the UK, so you can see exactly what's happening with your traffic and where it's going. They also have an ad pool, slightly similar to CJ's, but it shows when you put certain ads in there, it will only display the ones that are converting well, and they're strong in kind of all European areas as well. So the next thing to have a look at is out of the affiliates in the UK, who are the super affiliates, and what are they actually generating in terms of transactions and visitors. So I mentioned kind of voucher codes earlier. The biggest one in the voucher code area is My Voucher Codes, who have been going since 2006. They, in December 2008, received over 8.5 million unique impressions. So, as I said, far by the largest. They have an email database of over 500,000 users. They list virtually every single merchant who has an affiliate program, or even ones that don't have an affiliate program over found vouchers. So, they've got over 3,500 merchants listed and over 1,000 codes and 5,000 deals as part of that. So, when you're looking at the voucher code industry, they're by far the strongest. Top Cashback, I mentioned Quidco earlier. Top Cashback are probably the second biggest cashback site. They're the ones that pay over 100% commission, depending on how often you actually use their site. They have about 200,000 active members being members who have logged into the site over the past 2 months, and over 1,600 merchants listed. Just to give you a few stats on them as well, in December 2008, they generated over 0.25 million transactions. And bear in mind they're only the second biggest, that's quite a lot, and over 5 million sales in that period. Then you've got Holiday Watchdog. So Holiday Watchdog are more of a content site. It was started up by 2 people in 2003 who kind of got together and both interested in working on the site in this kind of sector because they saw a gap for it. It now lists over 40,000 hotels. It's purely now generated or powered by user-generated content. So, when you'll find a lot of the search terms that come through is because users have gone on there to review the hotels. They might be having a bitch about them where it wasn't the best experience, or just going on there to say how great their experience was. They support both text and video reviews as well. So especially the YouTubes and the way that Google have changed into universal search, they're getting some really good rankings because of that. It gets approximately 8 million page views per month. They were sold back in early 2008 for an undisclosed sum to Expedia, and are now a lot of their advertising is powered by TripAdvisor. And it was rumoured they were sold for 9 million. So an affiliate who's done very well in that sector in the holiday space, and was responsible for a lot of sales. Going on to mobiles. Now, mobiles or cell phones is one of the biggest sectors in the UK at the moment. Now, there's a few reasons for that. I mean, over the Christmas period, what you tended to find is we were getting loads and loads of transactions for mobiles, and that tended to be because people could not necessarily afford their PS3s or whatever it was that they wanted to buy their kids or their girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever it was for Christmas. And so what they'd go and do is they'd buy a mobile. And what you tend to find in the UK, and this is, I don't know if this is specific or not, but I don't think it happens as much over here certainly, is when you buy a mobile, you get it with like an 18-month contract. And as part of that contract, not only do you get the mobile, but you can also get a free gift generally. So whether it's a Nintendo Wii or a PlayStation 3 or some pink hair straighteners or whatever it might be. And that is leading to, because people can't actually afford to go out and buy these gifts anymore, they can afford to go and get a mobile, because generally the mobile will come free, and all they have to worry about is the monthly fee for it. So it's more of an instant gift, as it were. Now, Mobiles for Everyone was established in 2002 as one of the first price comparison sites, and now has 300,000 deals. So how it works, depending on how much they're paying, what gifts they're getting, what phones they're getting, etc. It has white label sites, so when you sign up as a white label, you use their affiliate links, and it factors back into the affiliates commissions. And also powers quite high profile sites, Mobile Shop, Uswitch, top10.co.uk. So big sites in the UK. It powers their mobile search facilities. So those are the super affiliates, as it were. Now going over to predictions for 2009. So, what do we see as happening? We've talked a bit about the credit crunch, and we've talked about other areas, and it's going to be, I think, a challenging year for everyone. But I think what we'll start to see some evolution, first of all. Starting off by evolution from merchants. So to use an example of this is something called Sunpress, and Sunpress is essentially a WordPress plugin that one of our merchants developed for sunshine.co.uk. So how it works is WordPress is open source software, and you install a plugin and some themes, whether you create your own or whether you use the ones that they provide. And what that allows you to do is build an actual holiday site with a search facility that searches thousands of hotels and resorts, and bring back the results within your page. So it just means that as affiliates, they're starting to look at other areas and look at how they can actually evolve the industry to get more affiliates on board, and really to get new affiliates coming on board as well. They're very key to get retailer and affiliates that haven't really touched the travel space previously, and use this kind of technology to get them on board and promoting them. And it's tending to work really well. Then you've got evolution by publishers. So something in the audience today has a website called Skimlinks. And essentially how that works is, as a content affiliate, whether you're a forum, whether you're a blog, whether you're just a standard HTML website, you can put a line of JavaScript in as at the start of the page. And what will then happen is you would put your links in as normal. So, if you wanted to put a link to eBay or Amazon or whoever it might be, you put in a normal link. Now, what would happen is that JavaScript, as the customer clicks on it, would on the fly turn that link from Amazon into the Amazon affiliate link, and then the content publisher doesn't have to worry about going and signing up to all the networks individually, but it allows them to really get to the bones of affiliate marketing without the challenging parts as part of it. So we'll probably see a lot more publishers start to evolve and look at services that they can provide that that not everyone can, because to build something like that requires huge technical resource, and it's just not possible for everyone to do that. So I think we'll see a lot more of that in 2009. I think we'll see a lot more CPL campaigns. I kind of mentioned it already, but these are springing up kind of every day. Hopefully we'll see a lot more like the likes of the free SIM card type campaigns where you're actually getting something at the end of it. You know, you've signed up and you're getting your Orange free SIM card or your O2 free SIM card or whatever it might be. Rather than ones that just kind of share data between multiple partners, which we've seen crop up. So I think we'll see a lot more CPL campaigns kind of start up and especially be promoted over email as well, especially the higher CPLs, as we kind of mentioned already, that the CPA is factoring a lot more in the UK and the key email distribution now. So we'll start to see a lot more of that. Now, one thing we don't really have in the UK is niche networks as well. So we've got plenty of niche merchants, and I think we'll see a lot more of those. We haven't really got any niche networks. So you've got your kind of health ones, etc., over here. And I think we'll start to see a lot of that, and people really going, to try and get publishers on board that are only in specific sectors, and offer that as a kind of value to merchants themselves. I think we'll also see some network consolidations or buyouts over the next year. So, I think that some of the bigger, maybe US networks will start to, come over to the UK. So you've got your likes of Google or whoever else it might be. You've already seen Intella come across. I think we'll continue to see that really. So whether they'll go and actually just, start from scratch out here, or whether they'll go and actually buy out one of the existing networks, because, there's a few of them for sale in this kind of environment, will be interesting to see. And as kind of mentioned, I think we'll see more expansion, not only from kind of networks, but also from merchants who are looking to get more of a global reach, especially as kind of delivery becomes cheaper and more available, and also publishers kind of looking to the UK as a way of monetising their traffic. I mean, the amount of publishers I've actually spoken to have said, I've got UK traffic, but at the moment I don't monetise it at all. But now there's technology and there's resources available to them to actually allow that to happen. So I think we'll kind of see that happen. So that pretty much sums it up. Haven't kept you too long, so if anyone has any questions and answers, then please feel free to come up to the mic or raise your hand. No one? Okay. My contact information is there. If anyone has any questions about becoming a merchant or a publisher with Affiliate Future or about the UK at all, then please come and grab me or give me a shout. So thanks for your time.